The worst take in football that I've heard this season. You win the award for that. What is up, guys? It's James from Cop Logic. Welcome back to the channel. Liverpool drew 0-0 with Manchester United at home at Anfield last night. And the most embarrassing thing about all of it was the reaction from certain fans in the fan base after that game. I don't want to make a habit of calling people out or whatever, I'm not gonna name any names. If you people watch Liverpool fan channels and reaction channels, then you're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. You know, there was a certain someone yesterday after the game uploading videos, multiple videos, criticizing our players after that game, which is perfectly fine to do, by the way. You can criticize our own players, but these takes were some of the worst I've ever heard. It was the biggest temper tantrum from the biggest baby on YouTube that I've ever seen. Just a couple of quotes from the videos. Darwin Núñez is washed. Darwin Núñez should be sent back to Uruguay. Darwin Núñez is finished as a football player. Mohamed Salah is finished. Sell Mo Salah to Saudi. Take the 100 million. Let's have some rationale here for a second. These are the worst. First of all, I'm gonna get into both of those criticisms of both of those players. We're going to look at them. We're going to actually take a look at them properly, rationally, like normal human beings. I just want to say, straight off the bat, let's have some perspective here as a fan base. We're currently sitting second in the Premier League, 1 point behind Arsenal in first, 1 point behind, and we've still got to play them before Christmas. If we win that game, we're 2 points clear at the top of the table at Christmas. And this guy's talking about our players are finished, sell them all. Oh yeah. I tell you what, here's a good idea. Let's sell all of our attackers in January. And that's the other thing, by the way, he was talking about in January. He wants Salah gone and Núñez gone in January. Halfway through the season, let's sell our attackers, because then we'll definitely win the Premier League, won't we? Genuinely one of the worst temper tantrums. This is why you don't jump on a camera after a game when you're emotional and just talk absolute waffle. My biggest issue with it is that this guy's got a platform. I'd hate to think that he's influencing other people in the Liverpool fan base to think this way. You know, the key part of the word supporter is support, and what you should be doing is supporting these players, not, I mean, talking about sending Núñez back to Uruguay and selling Salah to Saudi because we drew one game with our biggest rivals is insane. By the way, we're still undefeated in the Premier League this season. You know, if you take out that Tottenham result, and if the Tottenham result factually was incorrect, sure, we lost the game, but it was factually incorrect. We all know about that now. So if we exclude that fixture, we're undefeated the entire season. And yeah, we picked up some draws here and there, you know, and there's definitely issues with the squad at the moment and the last few games. Like we've been grinding out results for the last few games, definitely, and then the draw against United is not what anyone wanted, but ultimately this guy didn't get the 7-0 that he was expecting and has come online and absolutely threw his toys out the pram. He's a grown man. He's got about 20 years on me and he's throwing his toys out the pram. He's crying about send this player that way, sell Mo Salah to Saudi. 4 days ago, by the way, he was excited at the prospect of Mo Salah extending his contract. In less than a week, he's gone from I really hope Mo Salah extends his contract to sell Mo Salah to Saudi, take the 100 million and run. Absolute joke. Let's humour him and take a look at these prospects. Darwin Núñez, right? Let's take a look at what's actually going on at Liverpool and break down where the issues are here. So definitely there is a problem with our forwards at the moment in scoring goals, and that doesn't just go for Darwin Núñez, that goes for all three of them. Ask yourself what Mo Salah's done recently apart from score that deflected goal against Crystal Palace. We haven't seen a good performance from any of our forwards in a long time, even the ones coming on off the bench. I thought last night the worst performing player of the night was Cody Gakpo. I thought as soon as he came on, the game slowed right down. He was taking shots, he was taking wild shots from outside of the box that were never going to lead to anything. All that does is waste possession. You know, it's essentially a turnover if you're talking NFL terms. When he wasn't doing that, he was literally turning around and going backwards with the ball. Now, again, all you're doing there is breaking down the attack. I thought he was atrocious when he came on. He added nothing to the game, but he wasn't the only bad player. Everyone was off it yesterday except maybe Alisson Becker, which has been a common trend in the past as well. To single out certain players like Darwin Núñez and Mo Salah is crazy, because were they any worse than anyone else yesterday? I don't think so. And ultimately, we got a draw against our biggest rivals. And yeah, they might be in a bad place at the moment, whatever, but they've been going to other games and they've been trying something because they're desperate for points. They came to Anfield knowing there was a very good chance they were going to lose this game. There was a very good chance they were going to get absolutely battered. There was a very good chance Ten Hag was going to lose his job. So what did they do? And I said this in a preview before the game even happened, and I was right. They came to Anfield for a 0-0 draw. They came to Anfield and Ten Hag clearly had told them, just defend for your life. Don't give them anything. And if we get out of here with a 0-0 draw, happy days. And this is what happens to teams in a title race. Sometimes you come up against an opposition that go, do you know what? We're going to lose this game if we try anything. So tell you what we'll do. Let's just park the bus and play for a 0-0 draw. And a lot of the time in those games, someone is very difficult to break down. They offer you nothing, and you come out of those games, it ends 1-1 or it ends 0-0. This is a normal thing that happens. And against our biggest rival, Alexa's chiming in now. Realistically, for me, I don't think Darwin Núñez is getting enough service. A lot of people like to compare him to Haaland, which I don't like to do because clearly Haaland is one of the greatest players in world football, if not the best player in world football right now. But he gets a hell of a lot of service at City, and he misses his fair share of sitters, and I'm talking like open goals where he just has to slot a ball into an open net. He misses it. You know why? Because he's a power striker. He absolutely puts his foot through a ball in the same way that Núñez does, and power alters trajectory. Sometimes when you do that, the ball ain't going to go where you wanted it to go, and that's part and parcel of the way that they play, and it's just, that's football, it's physics. The point is, Haaland gets so much volume in terms of number of chances that it doesn't really affect his game. And of course, he's a more clinical finisher than Núñez, but he's also a more finished product than Núñez is. But the point I'm making is, I don't think Núñez gets enough service from this Liverpool football team. And I think that's something that needs looking at. And it's not just about Núñez, it's about the forwards in general. I don't think there's been enough service all season. If you go and watch Darwin Núñez play for Uruguay, and if you haven't, then I implore you to. When Núñez plays for Uruguay, he scores every game. Sometimes he scores twice a game, and the difference is that Uruguay is set up to support the way that Darwin Núñez plays. Darwin Núñez is an out-and-out number 9, and he's pacey, right? He likes to hang on the shoulder, and what he needs is cutting balls through the lines or balls over the top that he can run onto. That's what he's all about. He's faster, and he'll beat anyone in a race. So what you need to be doing is putting those balls through the channels or over the top for him to run onto, because he'll beat anyone, and then he's a one-on-one with the keeper. If you give him enough of them in a game, he'll score 2 or 3. The problem, I think, at Liverpool is we don't do that enough. There's a very heavy tendency at Liverpool to play the ball out wide to the right to Mo Salah, because Mo Salah's on the team, and it's understandable because he's an absolute monster, and he's still posting numbers, by the way, even this season. So we're going to talk about him in a second, because he's another one that this guy wants to sell to Saudi this January, which is another ridiculous take. So we're going to get on to Mo Salah in a second, but I think there's a huge tendency to play out to Mo Salah, and the problem with that in this Liverpool side is Luis Diaz and Darwin Núñez are not Sadio Mane and Roberto Firmino. And when you play out wide to Mo Salah, one of 2 things happens. Either Salah will try to cut in himself and take on a shot, or he will play the ball in to the box from out wide. Now, both of those are not scenarios that really benefit either Luis Diaz or Darwin Núñez. But we talk about Darwin Núñez particularly because apparently we should be sending him back to Uruguay, where he's actually an amazing footballer, surrounded by a national team that support him. I think that's one of the biggest things that is going to have to change in this Liverpool side. I don't know whether it's the team or whether it's Jurgen Klopp that is too used to playing with a false 9 or a creative player in that central position in Roberto Firmino, but that's not what Darwin Núñez is, and it's not what he's ever going to be. And ultimately, you bought him knowing that, and you have to start looking at what we can do to support that. We have to start looking at how we change our system to support that. And the idea of bringing Trent Alexander-Arnold into midfield is a potential way of doing that. The problem is it didn't work at all yesterday, but I don't think Trent's used to doing it. I think Trent was way too far forward, more so than he's used to. And, you know, every time he did try to play a ball over the top, and he did it a few times, he just sent him into the Annie Road stand, which obviously helps no one, because as fast as Darwin is, he can't get on the end of a ball that doesn't actually stay in play. And I think that's purely down to the fact that Trent's just not used to playing there, and he's hitting shots that he's normally taking from a right back position, and he's getting them pinpoint accurate. He's just not used to being there, and that's either going to come with time, or you accept that he's a right back and keep him at right back, and we do something else with this midfield. Right now, Darwin Núñez doesn't get the volume of service that a striker like him needs in order to start posting the numbers that people are expecting. The best thing about that is it can be fixed. I'm not concerned about Núñez, and the other thing is I'm not concerned about any of the forwards, because if you actually look at the last 2 games, none of our forwards have been firing, and that's not a coincidence. They didn't all suddenly fall off overnight. The problem is not specifically with the forwards, but with the team as a whole. Something is broken in the system, and we've been getting away with it for a few games now. We've been grinding out results, but it's come to a front at United where we've realised that we actually can't score. We're trying everything and we just can't score here. And things might be different if Diogo Jota was on the bench to come on, if Alexis McAllister was available to put on for Szoboszlai, because I think when Szoboszlai came off, That was the downfall of it all. Klopp changed the system, it didn't work at all. And don't get me wrong, Szoboszlai was having a bad game, which is why he's come off. But despite him having a bad game, misplacing some passes, he was still an effective threat to that United midfield. And the second he came off, all of that changed and all fell apart. And then Klopp didn't have the players on the bench he needed to fix the mistake that he'd ultimately made. You know, the fact is, whether you like to accept it or not, Ten Hag came with a tactical plan that won. You know, in the game of chess between Jurgen Klopp and Ten Hag yesterday, Ten Hag did win it. Klopp made a massive mistake with his first set of changes, and then he could never recover from that, and it is what it is. So let's move on to Mo Salah, because apparently we should sell Mo Salah in January and we should send him to Saudi. That's the worst take of the lot. That is the worst take in football that I've heard all season. In a world where Rory Jennings exists, this guy's gone and nailed the worst take in world football. In December, he's got it in there right at the end. Fair play to you, mate. You're picking up the award this season for that one. Sell Mo Salah to Saudi. Okay, let's take a look at some stats here. If we're gonna, let's theoretically say we're going to sell Mo Salah to Saudi in January. What are we going to do to replace him? Well, we'll get about 100 million, 150 million if we're lucky. So we can buy anyone, right? Probably the best right winger in the league outside of Mo Salah is Bukayo Saka. Now, there's no way, realistically, we'd ever be able to buy Bukayo Saka from Arsenal, especially when we're competing for a Premier League title with them right now, this very season. But let's say by some miracle we did. We're going to get Bukayo Saka, guys. We're going to sell Mo Salah and get Bukayo Saka, because he's the second best winger in the league, right? Bukayo Saka's stats this season: 16 appearances, 5 goals, 7 assists. That's 12 goal involvements this season in the Premier League. Mohamed Salah, the guy that we should sell to Saudi this January, 17 appearances, 1 more appearance than Bukayo Saka. 11 goals, 7 assists. That's 18 goal involvements in 17 appearances. That's more than a goal involvement per game. Just to remind you, Saka's on 16 appearances, got 12. So it's 18 to 12. And this guy's talking about selling him to Saudi. He's not just saying sell him to Saudi, he's saying he's finished. This guy, statistically, is the best right winger in Premier League football right now. Statistically, that's not even me saying it from a biased point of view. Statistically, this guy is the best player in his position in the entire league. And this guy's talk about selling him, talk about reactionary takes. Quite frankly, I find it absolutely astounding and unbelievable. And I just hope that, you know, because this guy's got a big platform, far bigger than ours. And if he's out there actively influencing Liverpool fans, then that worries me, because this is not the way we should be reacting to sitting second in the league in December, 1 point behind the league leaders, having only lost 1 game all season. And I'll tell you something else. Let's have a little bit of perspective here. Take yourself back to the start of the season and ask yourself what your goals were for this season. I'll tell you mine, personally. Last season, let's not forget, we didn't even finish in the top 4. We knew we had Europa League football this season, and for me personally, I thought to myself, I want to win the Europa League. Jurgen Klopp's never won it. The level of competition in that competition is subpar what Liverpool are. We definitely got a chance of winning the Europa League, so I want to win it. In terms of the Premier League, I just want to finish top 4. We didn't even finish top 4 last season. I want to finish top 4. Exacerbated by the fact that we lost our entire midfield this summer. Let's not forget that as well. Jurgen Klopp is working with an entire new midfield, and lo and behold, we've got midfield problems this season. Who would have thought it? We've got an entirely new midfield playing in a squad which, look, let's be honest, our forwards are fairly new themselves. I know they've had 2 or 3 seasons between them, Luis Diaz, Darwin Núñez, but they're also working with a midfield that is brand spanking new. We're talking about Alexis McAllister. You know, most games we're playing Alexis McAllister, Dominic Szoboszlai, Ryan Gravenberch. All 3 of them only came in the summer. You know, your hopes would be that this midfield can gel fast enough that the team can be effective enough to get us a top 4 finish this season. That's a realistic aspiration for any Liverpool fan this season, and yet we find ourselves sitting second in the league, 1 point behind the league leaders, still to play them at Anfield on the weekend. And if we go on and win that game, then we sit 2 points clear at the top of the table at Christmas. That is far more than any of us could have ever asked for. So what does that mean? That means we're ahead of schedule in the development of this team and the development of Jurgen Klopp's brand new midfield. We're ahead of schedule. We can't complain about that. Let's have some rationale. We've just drew 1 game to our biggest rivals at Anfield, and this guy's talking about selling everyone. The worst take in football that I've heard this season. You win the award for that. You know exactly who you are, and if you're watching this as fans, you know exactly who I'm talking about. It's embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing. It's the most pathetic take I have heard. I'm ashamed that it's come from a Liverpool fan. And one of the worst parts about it is, because his platform's so big, I've already seen this affect other outlets. I've seen Manchester United fan channels and fan accounts on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, saying things like Garnacho's performance has Liverpool fans wanting to sell Mo Salah and absolute rubbish like that. You know where that's come from? That's come from this guy. He's a sham. He's an embarrassment to this fan base, and I hope he's woken up this morning, took a look at those videos that he made yesterday, and he's embarrassed at himself. Have some self-respect, get behind the team. We've got 2 absolutely massive games coming up this week. We're going to Wembley if we win that game. It's huge. Get behind the lads, support them. Now is not the time to be down in tools and saying, sell this guy, sell that guy. Get behind the lads, support the team. That's what you're meant to do. You are a supporter, are you not? Get behind them all. Let's go and get ourselves to Wembley. Let's go and get top of the table for Christmas. Everyone's happy. That's all I've got to say on it. You could go on forever talking about it, couldn't you? But I just felt like I had to say something because I've never been more embarrassed to see a Liverpool fan talking absolute waffle like that. Anyway, listen, if you're new to the channel, hit like and subscribe. We talk rationally about the team and about results over here. We're all in for rational discussion, so if you want to talk about anything, get yourselves down in the comments below. And yeah, if you're new here, hit subscribe button, hit that like button, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.